Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about the different types of blockchains currently available. So before starting, I would like to quickly introduce myself. I'm Amrisha Kakoti and I'm working as a software engineer at Kpro Solutions Private Limited. Kpro is a leading provider in data lake, cloud implementations, IoT, blockchain, analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, and mobile application development. So without any further ado, let's get started with today's video. So I have divided this topic, that is types of blockchain, into two parts. And the topics we'll be covering in this video are: what are different types of blockchain available? What is the public blockchain? Its advantages, its disadvantages. Where can public blockchain be used? And what is consortium blockchain? Its advantages, and where can consortium blockchain be used? So let us start with what are the different types of blockchains currently available. So there are three types of blockchains currently available. The first one is the public blockchain, and examples of public blockchain are Bitcoin and Ethereum. Second one is the consortium blockchain, and the examples of consortium blockchain are Quorum, Hyperledger, and Corda. And a third one is the private blockchain, and an example of private blockchain is multi-chain. So these public blockchain, consortium blockchain, and private blockchain are the three types of blockchain currently available. Now let us start with what do we mean by this public or the permissionless blockchain. So this public blockchain is also known as permissionless blockchain. So this is what the public blockchain network looks like. So your every node is connected to every other node, and every node is a member node as well as the validator node. So as the name says, public blockchains are open to everyone. This means that anyone can become a node and participate in the network and make transactions. It also allows every node in the network to participate in the consensus process and validate a node. Although it is open to anyone, it is secured by the power of cryptography so that no one can tamper with the transactions recorded in the blockchain. And yes, every data written will be permanently recorded. No one can modify or change it because this immutability property is one of the most important features of blockchain, and public blockchain is one of the types of blockchain. So this is what the public blockchain is. Next, let us see what are some of the advantages of using the public blockchain. So, even the people who have made a transaction or developed an application on this public blockchain have no power to change it. So, immutability is one of the advantages of public blockchain. Thus, it protects the users of an application from its creators or developers. And no third-party verification is needed, as all the nodes have the power to validate a block, and the consensus process makes it even more powerful. So immutability and no third parties involved are some of the advantages of using a public blockchain. Next, let us see what are some of the disadvantages of public blockchain. So the first disadvantage is limited scalability. So as time passes and the blockchain grows in size, the nodes requirements such as storage, bandwidth, computation power, etc. increases, as a result of which only a few nodes can afford these resources, thus bringing back the risk which blockchain is meant to avoid, that is centralization. So this limited scalability is one of the disadvantages of using a public blockchain. The next disadvantage is limited privacy. So although anonymity is promised by blockchain, yet the web trackers and cookies make it quite possible to leak information about a transaction and hence the identification of a specific user. And moreover, it is not an option for most of the companies to put their highly confidential data on the public blockchain and make it available for everyone to look at. So this limited privacy is one of the disadvantages of using a public blockchain. The third disadvantage is the lack of formal contract verification. Now, what do we mean by this formal contract verification? So, it is a method which makes sure that an application behaves in accordance to some specifications. Since in the public blockchain, once anything is recorded, it becomes immutable. Hence, it is very important to make everything work according to the specifications before using it in reality. The next disadvantage is storage constraints. So storage of data becomes a very big problem as every node stores the entire blockchain database, which is append only and immutable. That is, only it will increase and will never decrease. Because we all know that we can always insert new data into the blockchain, but we cannot delete the existing data. So the storage constraints poses another disadvantage of using a public blockchain. The last disadvantage that I have mentioned on the slide is the lack of governance and standards. So while blockchain helps us to achieve a trustless, open and permissionless system, but at the same time, we will also need some organization among the developers to come in terms with new standards, features and upgrades. So this limited scalability, limited privacy, lack of formal contract verification, storage constraints, lack of governance and standards are some of the disadvantages of using a public blockchain. Next, let us see where can we use a public blockchain. So public blockchain can be used while voicing opinions. So if anyone tries to build an application where anyone in the world can take part and put forward their views and opinions regarding any critical topic, this blockchain can be used. In such applications, anonymity of users is very important in order to protect the privacies, and public blockchain promises anonymity. Since public blockchain is a blockchain and one of the features of blockchain is immutability, hence in public blockchain also, once a record is inserted, cannot be changed. So this is where we can use this public blockchain. Next, let us see what do you mean by this consortium, which is also known as federated or permissioned public blockchain. So this is what the consortium blockchain looks like. So we have here the validator nodes and these are the member nodes. So here the access is restricted, unlike the public blockchain in which anyone can take part in the network and start validating transactions. And here another thing is that the control over the network is given to only a few predetermined nodes. That is, here they are the validator nodes. So the control over the network is given to these validator nodes. Now since access is restricted here and control of a network is given to a few predetermined nodes, hence it is partially decentralized. And as I mentioned here, the control is given to a group of individual or predetermined nodes. Again, only these nodes that are the validator nodes can take part in the consensus process and validate the nodes. But the read access might be open to all the nodes, that is both the validator and the member nodes, or might be open only to this predetermined or the validator node. So this entirely depends upon the blockchain. Thus, this type of blockchain is faster, has more scalability and more privacy, as only a few nodes carry out the validation process and only a few nodes can access the network. So this is what the consortium blockchain is all about. Next, let us see what are some of the advantages of using a consortium blockchain. Since the validation process is carried out by only the predetermined nodes, hence the transaction cost is reduced as well as the number of data redundancies. Here, the nodes participating in the network or having control over the network are known and distributed. Hence, the risk of the network getting attacked reduces. So this type of blockchain is faster than the public blockchain, as the consensus process is carried out by only the pre-approved nodes. So reduced transaction costs and data redundancies, known entities and distributed, which reduces the risk of the network getting attacked, and faster are some of the advantages of using a consortium blockchain. Next, let us see where can this consortium blockchain be used. So this consortium blockchain can be used in the case when anyone tries to bring transparency to any food supply chain by making people aware of where the food was processed, packaged, etc. So while buying any food, we can scan the code and track the entire journey all the way back to the starting point. But we should not be allowed to write anything, but only read the data. So this writing privilege is granted to only a few entities like the food processor, packer, so on and so forth. And even here, like any other blockchain, data written here is permanently recorded because this consortium blockchain is also one of the types of blockchain. So this is where we can use this consortium blockchain. Now let us have a quick recap of all the topics that we have covered in this video. So in the beginning, we saw what are different types of blockchain currently available, which are three types, that is a public, consortium and a private blockchain. Then we saw what do we mean by the public or the permissionless blockchain. Then we saw the advantages of the public blockchain. Then we saw a few disadvantages why we should not use public blockchain. Then we saw where can we use public blockchain. Then we saw what is this consortium blockchain is. Then we saw some of the advantages of using this consortium blockchain. And last but not least, we saw where can this consortium blockchain be used. Thank you for watching this video. In the next video, I'll be covering, that is the types of blockchain part 2. I'll be covering the following topics, which is private blockchain, its advantages, where can this private blockchain be used, is private blockchain a shared database, challenges faced by private blockchain, difference among private, public and consortium blockchain, why do we need different types of blockchain, and some of the industry giants currently using blockchain. Kindly provide your valuable feedback in the comment section and let us know of any topic you want us to make a video of or any issue you might be facing in your project. You may write to us at feedback@kpro.co.in. Thank you very much. Let's keep learning.